The newsroom right here on ET Now. I'm Ajay Sharma. Well, the markets are looking pretty good today. All these API stocks are buzzing in trade. Divi's Lab is up 6%. Shivalik Rasayan is up another 10%. Among the broader market, in fact, the broader markets are doing much better than the benchmarks are right now. We'll get you all the stocks in focus and also a big investing voice in moments. But before that, let's tell you what's happening in the world of COVID. Well, COVID cases in India have crossed 12 lakh mark right now, and India is recording highest single day recovery with 28,000 people going home. That's a very big positive, and no wonder market is actually very strong reading that recovery. ICMR approves 2 more antigen test kits for COVID tests, and government has extended its norms for IT companies till December 31st. Next fiscal stimulus likely after vaccines availability. That's the word coming from CEA. Doctors are seeking financial help to treat COVID response medics. Kerala, meanwhile, is planning another lockdown as cases spike. And Manipur observes 14-day lockdown as well. China also has reported 18 new virus cases. And US has signed a contract with Pfizer for COVID vaccine doses. All right, so that is as far as the market goes, but it's not only the listed space, but even from the private equity side, the flows into the country have been very strong. So we thought of getting you a voice today, somebody who's been looking at the Indian markets for a long time and Indian economy in a long time, and he's been observing that big private equity companies are lapping up Indian assets, be it the pharma assets or API assets like JB KKR transaction, or be it the Carlyle and the Piramal Enterprises pharma business transaction, or even Geo, which has actually got some of the world's best private equity and investors lined up. So we thought of getting you somebody from San Francisco Bay Area, where bulk of these technology, private equity and venture capitalist firms are based out of. We have Mr. MR Rangaswami joining us from San Francisco today, all the way. He, of course, heads the Sand Hill Group, which looks at similar investments in emerging markets, and India also is an area he's interested in. MR, very good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us today on my show. You've recently made commentary that India is actually entering its golden decade in the next 8-10 years. Look extremely positive as we recover gradually from this COVID-led pandemic. How are you looking at what are the indicators which you are reading so closely that you are bullish for the long term here in India?
Yeah, so I think this is a different time and era for India. I think there have been obviously a few disappointments in the past with the dot-com bubble and so forth. But this time it's quite different because there are several factors coming into play. One is the fact that foreign capital is finding its way to India in a massive way. As you've seen recently, the funding of Jio, Flipkart being additionally funded by Walmart, Amazon doubling down, Foxconn coming in, and Google committing to $10 billion. So there's a huge influx of capital coming into India. That's one part. The second thing, the reason why capital is coming in is that finally India has gone from, mobile phones, which were basically dumb phones, to now smartphones. So literally every one of the billion phones in India now is smart. So it can have applications, it has intelligence, and that was a second factor. And the thing that kind of put a fire in all this, unfortunately, was COVID. Because COVID has caused India to digitize in a speed and a rate that's never been seen before, right? Even the Kirana shop has to take digital currency, whether it's a consumer or a factory or anybody, everybody is getting digitized because you don't have contact with people anymore to the extent we had before. So I think it's a confluence of all these factors that has come to play for India today.
MR, so you are saying that because of these tectonic shifts, you do see big funds from US and other geographies continue to look for high quality opportunities in India. Can you build upon that?
Yeah, I think so far, like you said, we have, in fact, personally, I have worked with NASSCOM, hosting their national NASSCOM product conclave in Bangalore for the past 10 years. We've brought people from Silicon Valley, venture capitalists, CEOs, and others to really help the Indian ecosystem. And it started really thriving now. What it lacked was this heavy dose of credibility, capital coming in. It was trickling in, but now because of this, already 20 billion has come in the past 3 months into India through the Facebook investment, to the Google commitment, Flipkart's money, and all these new monies coming in. This is actual money. This is not commitments. These are actual dollars flowing in. And so if 20 billion has come into India, it's very easily projectable that another 80 billion could come over the next decade. So what is this money going to find? They're going to find startups. They're going to find more unicorns to grow in India, and so on and so forth. So I think the timing is pretty good. And then another interesting factor that's come into play now is the fact that Chinese applications have been banned. And so these 58 or 59 applications, including TikTok, have been banned. And see what has happened. Raposo now is getting 500,000 downloads every hour. So there could be many, many other such applications and other Indian companies benefiting this as well. So I think that's another added fuel to the fire, in a sense, to give more excitement to the Indian market.
MR, talk to us about which are the sectors which you really like here in India, which have the potential to attract these blue-blooded investors and potential of high growth in these years ahead, as you're stating.
The broad theme is going to be there are 1 billion customers or consumers in India, and they're all going to be digitized. So anything that's digitized provides an opportunity. For example, healthcare. Now, telemedicine and appointments by looking at your phone and examining a patient, that's becoming norm, right? So that whole growth in the healthcare industry is going to happen. So if you look at every such thing, you look at retail, again, everything is going to be contactless. You just order it on your phone, you get it to your house, or you pick it up. So literally any industry you can look at, including India's favorite pastime, cricket. If you don't have fans in the stadium, how are they going to engage the people at home, the 1 billion people watching matches? So applications and television shows at home have to be taking different form to engage the consumer. So I literally see opportunity in so many areas, whether it's fintech or sports or telemedicine, or look at TCS and all these companies have said most of our employees are going to still continue working from home. What does that mean? It's not just having a screen to do your work. It's all the productivity applications of a workforce that stays at home. None of that has been developed. Right now they have Zoom and they have a few other apps, but you've got to create this whole work at home application set. So you look at every part of the ecosystem, every part of the framework, there's opportunity and limitless opportunity. But there are, of course, some caveats, and I'm happy to talk about that as well.
MR, let me play the devil's advocate. Let's talk about some of the challenges which you see here, some of the issues while investing in India. Are valuations also one of them? What do you make of some of the roadblocks?
Yeah, so valuations is a completely different story, right? You have a good company and a quality company, it doesn't matter what the valuation is. The problem is in such times, there'll be a lot of companies funded without good economic models. And those companies are the ones that are going to suffer. They might get the initial high valuations and then they fade away. So I think you have to really sift quality companies. So companies have to have really good business models. Cost of acquisition of customers has to be realistic, not crazy. So you really have to put some bounds around the valuation based on the economic model of the company, not how many eyeballs or how many downloads of a product you're going to get. Okay, so that's one issue. Another big issue I want to bring up really is about the Indian government, bureaucracy, and industry getting together, because India is at a crossroads, right? If you look at China, for example, today, you don't have Facebook, you don't have Google, you don't have Amazon. Why is that? Because it's all Chinese companies that dominate the market, and the Chinese government kept out the American companies and the Western multinationals. India, on the other hand, has been very open to these multinationals, but India also has to safeguard its own borders. Where's the data stored? What is the privacy of all the data that's being collected and aggregated? What are other privacy norms? Also, how do local companies thrive in a market where there's going to be a tremendous number of foreign companies with lots of capital who are in for the long haul? So these are all issues that I think the ministers, the IT minister and others have to sit down with the bureaucrats, but also most importantly, sit down with industry to say, here are the rules of the game, so that you don't come into 2-3 years from now and suddenly you realize that the Indian industry is gone or the markets have gone in a completely different way and the Indian consumer is not protected. So I would say we need to really, really put that ahead of the game rather than be reactive. I'd love to see Indian industry and Indian government be more proactive in how this new money is going to be put to work. What are the rules and regulations? Have a lot of that discussion up front so there are no disappointments or surprises.
Right. Thanks very much for that